Welcome to the PMdistilled lesson. In this lesson, we'll try to understand plan, sourcing, strategy. This is a major component of planning. From where are we going to get the resources required for the project, and how are we going to get it? What is the strategy for getting it? So all these things must be defined during the planning phase of the project itself. The first step is after creating the work breakdown structure, after identifying the work packages, the next step is make or buy analysis. So, out of the entire scope of the project, which are the components we'll be doing ourselves, which are the components we'll be outsourcing or contracting. So, this is a major decision which happens during the make or buy analysis. Sorry. Uh, there are multiple sourcing approaches. If you have to get things, let us say we are trying to get 100 laptops for the team. Uh, we have to decide now whether we should get it from a single supplier versus multiple suppliers, because both has its advantages as well as disadvantages. If I'm getting it from a single supplier, maybe I'll get a better preference, better support, etc. But in case if something happens to that particular supplier, there will be a major impact on the project. One of the mega infrastructure projects, one of the suppliers went bankrupt, and which had a major impact on the overall project schedules. But if it was a multiple suppliers, then this risk we could have managed much easier. Then we have local versus global sourcing, especially MNCs. They say, okay, generally they go for global sourcing because they can negotiate better. My entire organization will use laptops from company X. Then you source it globally because then you get pricing advantages. Sometimes organizations will allow to procure locally. That is also fine. Then strategic partnership versus transactional vendor. When we say strategic partnership, because if it is a seller's market, the vendors have certain core competencies which are very rare. Then we always try to go for strategic partnership with that vendor. And whenever we do projects, okay, that strategic partnership also will be active. Uh, Other option is transactional vendor. For this project, I go with vendor X. Next project, I go with vendor Y. So that also has advantages as well as disadvantages. Then we have centralized versus decentralized procurements. Sometimes if the project is happening in multiple sites or locations, sometimes the project manager can decide to procure all high value items centrally and then distribute it to the different locations. And maybe the low value items they can procure locally as well. So these are the different sourcing approaches. Within the same project, we may use a different sourcing approach for different items. Then another major thing we must understand is the different contract types and the impact of the contract on the buyer and the seller. The most common contract types are the first one is the fixed price contract. In all fixed price contract, the cost risk is with the seller. Now I'm painting my house. I don't have time to run around and supervise and organize for all these things. So I've given the contract, a fixed price contract to a vendor. So he's doing the work. So if the actual cost, if it exceeds the quoted price, then he will make a loss. But if the actual price is lesser than the quoted price, he will make a profit. But my risk is limited to the quoted price. We are talking only about the financial risk. I may have, as a buyer, I may have quality related risk, I may have schedule related risk. All those issues are there. But fundamentally, the cost risk is with the seller in a fixed price contract. Then we have a cost reimbursable contract. That means whatever the cost is incurred by the seller, that is borne by the buyer. So in this scenario, the seller will never make a loss, whereas the buyer can make a loss. Whenever I do training programs outside my country, I prefer cost reimbursable contracts because I don't know the living conditions. I don't know the cost of living in other countries. So I'm very safe or I'm very comfortable when I go with a cost reimbursable contract because they pay for my flight ticket, visa processing, accommodation, local conveyance, etc., etc. And then they give me X dollars every day. So in this scenario, I will never make a loss. Whereas the buyer can make a loss because when I go there, sometimes we'll have only 5 participants for the training. In that case, the buyer may be making a loss. But sometimes we may have 25 people attending the course. So in that case, okay, the buyer may be making a huge profit as well. But I'll never make a loss because I get whatever is agreed upon. To summarize, in all cost reimbursable contract, the cost risk is with the buyer, whereas in all fixed price contract, the cost risk is with the seller. Then we have time and material. So based on the timesheet and the material used, the billing happens. That is time and material. In time and material, again, the cost risk is with the buyer because if the time and material cost exceeds the expectations, then the buyer can make a loss. Then purchase order. Primarily, purchase order is used for procuring standard items. Let us say I want to, or we want to buy 100 laptops for the project team. Uh, it is an off the shelf item. Then we go with the purchase order. In some countries, irrespective of the order type, the order is closed or sealed or confirmed with the purchase order. So those combinations are possible. So we discussed about three basic types of contracts: fixed price contracts, cost reimbursable, time and material, and the purchase order. Then these are the contract types. Then we have different contracting strategies like uh, design, bid, and build. Here, the design is done by a separate entity. Then the design is given to a set of contractors. They quote against, they submit a bid against that particular design, and the winner is awarded the contract, and that person builds. That means the design is given, and against the design, the bid happens, so that we get comparable bids. So that is design, bid, and build. Then design build. That means I have a problem to solve or an opportunity to leverage. Then I I request somebody, the contractor or the supplier will design the solution and build it for me. That is design build. Then we have other stuff like engineering. EPC is another form of one contractor does the engineering, procurement, and construction for the project. And then we have construction management. There are different uh, variations of it. A construction manager at risk, CMA, uh, CMR, and all those things. Uh, that means I appoint a construction manager, and the uh, construction manager is accountable for the risk in the project. Then we have integrated project delivery, that is IPD, and public-private partnerships, framework agreements, and master service agreements, uh, alliance contracting, and agile and adaptive contracts. Uh, okay, so we have to do the make or buy analysis, then we have to do the contract sourcing approach, then the contract type selection. We discussed about fixed price contract, cost reimbursable, time and material. Then, while forming the contract, risk allocation is a major thing. So identify the procurement risk and decide who bears which risk. Who is the owner of that risk? Decide who bears which risk. Sometimes, while doing this risk allocation, one of the primary criteria is who has the capability to address that risk. So, if it has a major financial impact, if the contractor doesn't have the financial ability for such a huge amount, then either it must be shared between the buyer and the seller, or it should be with the seller, or it must be transferred to an insurance company, etc. Because ultimately we have to protect the project success. So, irrespective of who triggered the risk, the project has to move forward. Hence, the risk must be allocated to the person who has the capability to manage it, person or entity. Then supplier evaluation criteria. So whenever we are in a high value procurement situation, we have to come out with a supplier evaluation criteria like cost. We will give this much weightage, quality this much weightage, past experience this much weightage, delivery capability this much weightage, financial stability this much weightage, maybe ISO certification or other certifications, etc., this much weightage. Sometimes we check for the balance sheet of the supplier as well. That is the financial stability. So based on this, we evaluate, we give weightages for the vendors and then for the suppliers, and then we shortlist them. So whenever we are in a high value procurement situation, it is always better to come out with a supplier evaluation criteria, and we should form a purchase committee so that there can be absolute transparency into the whole process. Uh, then we must align the procurement with the schedule because, for example, some of the long lead items, that means I place the order today, I'll get the item after 1 year, or 6 months. So my procurement plan should align with my project schedule because otherwise I may not get the material or equipment on time. Then it must align with my project budget because I have to pay when these supplies happen. So my procurement plan should align with the budget, risk plan, and stakeholder expectations. Inputs to sourcing strategy, we have project charter, business case, scope baseline, organizational policies or organizational process assets. Organizational policies are part of the organizational process assets and enterprise environmental factors because uh, I should not start a construction project during the monsoon time, or I should not start a project in the acute winter time. The supply should not happen during, if I'm getting sand to fill the project site or level the project site, it should not be raining. So enterprise environmental factors plays a major role while doing the sourcing strategy. Output is the procurement management plan, make or buy decisions, procurement strategy document, and bid documents. Okay. We have bid documents like one is a RFI that stands for request for information, which we use to get more information from the vendors. That is RFI. RFP is a request for proposal. RFQ is a request for quotation, etc. Then we have given a project example here. Uh, then contracting strategies are listed here. Design, bid, and build. Design and construction are handled by separate entities. Then design build. A single contractor is responsible for both design and construction. Then EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction. EPC contracts, a turnkey approach where the contractor delivers a fully operational facility. So the owner need not worry. The contractor will take care of engineering, procurement, and construction part and gives you the facility. Then we have construction management, two variants, CM construction manager as an agent and construction manager at risk. If it is CMAR, the entire risk of the project is managed by the construction manager. Uh, then integrated project delivery, a collaborative contract involving owner, designer, and the contractor. The owner, designer, and the contractor start working on the project from day one. And they make joint decision making. They share the risk and rewards. Pros, high collaboration, innovation friendly. Cons means complex to structure and requires cultural maturity. Then we have public private partnerships, PPP. A government partners with the private firms to finance, build, and operate infrastructure. Uh, we have a major seaport that happened in my state. That was a public-private partnership. Central government has invested, state government has invested, and private parties have invested. And common forms of PPP are BOT, that is build, operate, and transfer. You build it, operate it for some time, and transfer it. Or it could be BOOT, that is build, own, operate, and transfer. You build it and own it for a very long time, maybe 40 years, 30 years kind of thing, and operate it as an owner and then transfer. Then framework agreements or master service agreements, pre-negotiated contracts used for repeat work over time. So if you have a framework agreement, then uh, we can reduce the negotiation time. We can reduce the procurement duration or cycle because I go and sign a framework agreement or a master service agreement with another firm to subcontract to outsource my software related stuff. And then we have norms like, okay, for this many function point, we'll pay this much kind of thing. Then there is a framework agreement. We have alliance contracting, a highly collaborative model where all parties share risk and rewards. Uh, then agile and adaptive contracts. Contracts designed for iterative and incremental delivery aligned with agile. So agile, one fundamental thing is we say we are open to changes even late in the project. So we cannot have a traditional fixed price contract for agile because that will prevent us uh, to be open with changes, because if we accommodate too many changes as a supplier, I'll make loss. So uh, best approach would be a time and material with a cap. I say we'll go with time and material, but everything must be contained. Maximum cost must be within this much kind of thing. Then we can even have incremental delivery contracts, maybe till release one contract, release two another contract, release three another contract. So we discussed about going back to the mind map. We discussed about the plan sourcing strategy and the make or buy analysis, sourcing approach, contract type selection, and contracting strategies. Thank you.